Hey, how's it going, everybody, and welcome back into the SFS channel. My name is Gavin, and today we are continuing to get ready for Week 1 fantasy football action with 5 must-sit running backs this week. Either I don't like the situation, the matchup, something's going on, we've got injuries, something's nagging a player. There's going to be a couple things that are kind of intertwined into how I'm valuing these assets this week and why I don't think it's the smartest choice to play them. I've already got 2 videos out this week, 5 must-start running backs and 5 must-start wide receivers. So today we're just on the flip side of things, talking about players I don't like so much this week. If you're new around here, make sure you guys subscribe and turn that bell on so you never miss an episode. I put out fantasy content every single day of the week, and I'm always here to help you guys however you need me this season. So without further ado, let's hit that intro and get right in to our 5 running backs that we are not starting this week. All right, before we get started here, if you are looking for weekly lineup advice or someone to be used as a tool to help you set those lineups and pick which players you should be starting and sitting for your individual team, SFS Gold is a route that you should explore. Eric and I will help you guys out, and you'll get exclusive membership privileges on our community Discord server. The free invite link to that is in the description of today's video and every episode here on the channel. But if you would like to get extra in-depth and personalized content, that's the route you should approach. We'll also have individual positional rankings for every player for every week. So you'll be getting our top quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and defenses every single week. And we will go significantly down the board to give you options for running back 3s and 4s, wide receiver 3s and 4s, etc. You get the point. So with that being said, Melvin, Gordon, and Javonte Williams here. We've only got one up on the screen, but just know I'm talking about this situation as a whole. Are 2 players I'm looking to avoid this week in fantasy. This is going to be kind of a feel it out week. Week 1, we haven't exactly seen these committee style or 1-2 punches yet, and it's kind of a guess. It's anyone's guess is as good as mine as to how they're going to deploy these backs. I think Melvin Gordon, to start the season out before Javonte makes a really strong case for himself, is going to be the starter and see the bulk of the work. But at the end of the day, the Giants' defensive front is very, very solid, and I don't trust that the Broncos' offense is going to be incredibly productive in this game. I'm expecting a very ugly football game. I think that these are 2 defensive teams with developing offenses that are just, like I said, they're going to be feeling it out. I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be a 50-50 split, a 60-40 split, but at the end of the day, I'm not too intrigued by either of these players, and they're going to need touchdowns to bail them out at the end of the day. Like I said, that Giants defensive front is very, very solid and not something I'm excited about throwing out there because I think that there's going to be a lot of turnovers, inefficient plays, punts. There's probably going to be more punts than we end up seeing touchdowns. So avoid Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams if you can. I think the ceiling is very capped this week and the floor is quite dicey as well. Myles Gaskin against the New England Patriots. Look, this is a player I've been very off of recently. After seeing how the snaps were divvied up for Malcolm Brown and Myles Gaskin with the Miami Dolphins offensive starters, I don't feel so confident about this matchup or about this running back situation in general for Myles Gaskin. The Dolphins have massively upgraded their wide receiver room. Will Fuller's not quite back yet, but at the end of the day, I think that limits the receiving production we'll have from Gaskin because he's not going to be split out wide as much. Additionally, I think that Bill Belichick is going to take away the run game and force Tua to pick apart his secondary, which is the strength of his defensive unit. That's going to make things shaky here. If Myles is not efficient on 1st and 2nd down, I don't think we can expect him to get bailed out on the goal line because Malcolm Brown is now that player. Malcolm Brown is the power back. He's the thicker player. He's going to come out here and be used more as that pinball inside the 5-yard line, and that really limits the touchdown upside and ceiling that Myles Gaskin has on a week-to-week basis. So in a matchup where I expect stopping the run to be the emphasis for the Patriots, that is not good for a player who, again, I think sees a reduction in his receiving involvement and has very limited opportunities, to find the end zone and to give us those pretty easy 6-point plays. So not too excited about Myles this week. Very, very shaky. And again, I think that ceiling is very, very low as well. So it's not even a boom-bust situation at this point. DeAndre Swift. Now, this is going to go, he's questionable right now. We don't know if he's going to be able to push through that preseason groin injury. If he can't, this goes for any Detroit Lions running back who's out there this week. Jamal Williams, Jamar Jefferson, whoever it is. If there's a Lions back out there, I'm not starting them this week, regardless of who's healthy and who's not healthy. DeAndre Swift is going to be brutally hit by a very unfavorable game script because I think that the 49ers are just going to shell the Lions. It's a talent mismatch. It's a coaching mismatch, to be quite honest. Dan Campbell cannot hang with Kyle Shanahan right now, if you ask me. I think that those are just two complete opposite sides of the spectrum. Dan Campbell is just brute force. He wants to play smash mouth football and bite your kneecap off. And Kyle Shanahan is this guru who schemes up some of the best zone fits I've seen and some of the best offensive run plays. I think that the 49ers are just going to blow out the Lions. And what does that mean? You can't run the football if you're Dan Campbell, so you're not going to have your linemen biting kneecaps off. DeAndre Swift is going to be limited to essentially only a pass-catching role, which I do add, and I do acknowledge he's very good on third down, catching passes, very great in the open space. But when you talk about a player who, again, isn't coming into this game 100%, and that 49ers front seven is quite lethal, this is a tough matchup. It's an unfavorable situation. I just think too many things can go wrong here. He is potentially a boom-bust play because he could get out in space and make a big play happen in the receiving game, but his overall efficiency and how effective I expect him to be on a per-touch basis is not something I'm excited about this week, and I think that can become a very big risk to your lineups, and he could have a big-time bust week. So not looking at DeAndre Swift, not looking at Jamal Williams, Jamar Jefferson, whoever's out there, no. Stay away from them. There's safer options out there for your teams. Another one, the entire Jets backfield. We've got Michael Carter up here just because I think he's the most significant player to note. But I'm not starting Tevin Coleman. I'm not starting Michael Carter. I think that this is a lot more rare of a situation. But I'm not starting Ty Johnson, Michael P. Ryan. None of the Jets running backs are even being considered in my lineups this week. Now, in deeper leagues, there might be an exception. In full PPR, maybe you want to roll out Michael Carter. But again, like the Broncos at the top of the video here, excuse me, this is a feel-it-out week. I think that we need to see what is going on here, and we need to understand how the Jets are going to deploy the running backs on a week-to-week basis. This is a winnable football game for New York. This is a game they should be able to be competitive in because they did get a lot better in the personnel department this offseason. They did make some good coaching moves. And the Panthers, while I really like what they're doing over there, they still aren't quite ready to be a contending team yet, I think. So the Jets should be able to hang around in this game. It should be very telling to us how they want to use Tevin Coleman, how they want to use Michael Carter. And if these guys all stay healthy, at the end of the day, we should have a pretty good picture painted for us moving forward in future weeks, how these backs are going to be used. But I don't want to guess this week. I don't want to wait and see and find out later which of the backs is going to lead the team in touches. It might be that Tevin Coleman early on is the go-to guy. He's the vet in the room. He's the savvy player. He's got a nice skill set, but he can't stay healthy. Maybe he ends up being the most utilized back. Maybe if it does turn into a bit of a stretched out game, Michael Carter ends up catching a lot of passes if the Jets need to catch up late. But at the end of the day, again, I don't want to wait and find out and sit and see who's going to be the leading guy to touch the ball in this offense. Not a situation I want to play this week, and we can reassess this after week one is over and heading into week two. And then finally here, this one's really hard for me, but I don't want to... David Montgomery this week is a player I do not feel all that strongly about. I am a big-time David Montgomery after week one, a big-time David Montgomery owner, and want to play him in my lineups. But the Chicago Bears situation week one at Los Angeles is not something I'm too excited to get myself into here. This is probably going to be the player that's the hardest for fantasy owners to sit down on their bench because they probably have the most vested into him in their teams. But with Andy Dalton as the starting quarterback, with a beaten-up offensive line, with really shallow offensive line depth, the Rams front is not what you want to see week one. They're throwing Andy Dalton out to the Wolves this week. And I think this game could get ugly very fast for the Bears, and I would hate to see them fall behind by 2 or 3 scores, and then at the end of the day, they're not running the football, and David Montgomery isn't getting those workhorse touches because they're then trying to pass and overcompensate for lost time. So it's going to be a tough matchup. I think that the Bears have a very respectable offense, a very respectable roster, but that Rams team I expect to be very dang good, and again, that defense is going to be no joke, and it's not going to be any easy task despite the fact that they do have very effective skill players in Chicago. So if Andy Dalton can hang around in this game, Ultimately, David Montgomery might be a low-end RB2 this week, but the ceiling is very, very capped, and I think that we are crossing our fingers that he can find the end zone a couple times to save his weekly lineup performance, because without that, I think that, again, that ceiling is very low, and that could also start to dig into his floor if the game script gets out of hand here. Alrighty, those were 5 must-sit running backs for Week 1 of 2021 fantasy football. Let me know down in the comment section below if you have any questions about your teams this week, any help you need with your lineups. I've got you guys covered. Eric and I will get back to you, respond to your questions down there as quick as possible, and get you all the information that you guys need. Also, remember to go check out SFS Gold and subscribe. If you guys are new around here, go check out our social media accounts as well and follow us on some of the other platforms we have. Also, that community Discord is something you need to take advantage of as well as a free way to get more personalized content and advice from us. So thank you all so much for watching. Go check out the 5 must-sit wide receiver video that I'm also posting today, or those 5 must-start running back and wide receiver videos from Monday, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.